Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we today? Trust you're having a good day. Today I'll be meeting with Chivuzo Offiah. I'll be talking about his immigration story to Canada, and yeah, it hopes to be a very interesting and informative time. Um, we'll be talking about his experience in Nigeria, making the decision to come to Canada, and what the experience has been like for him in the last 3 years. I trust it'll be an interesting and entertaining time. So, right on to it.
Hi, Chivuzo. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm very well. Let's just go get right to it. Um, from what I know of you, you are a finance bigwig in Lagos, and you decided to make the jump. And when I say the jump, I mean leave it all behind, come to a new country, get started all over again. Can you just share with us your backstory up till making that move, and what was the motivations to doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I worked in finance shortly before leaving the country, before leaving Nigeria, coming to Canada. And like you said, things were pretty much going okay for me. Had a good job that I loved, was had good friends, my family was around, and all that kind of thing. So it was really very nice. But you see, your decision making process starts to change when you have start having kids. So I guess that was the turning point. So I had my daughter, and all of a sudden you find yourself like making decisions around your family. You find
Mhm.
yourself thinking a little bit more long term, and you find yourself trying to imagine how your kid is going to grow up, what kind of life you want to give your kid, and all that kind of stuff. So at that point, it made sense. One thing that became very clear was that it wasn't going to be a sustainable business like raising kids in Nigeria. Maybe some people are comfortable doing that,
Yeah.
and I just wasn't very comfortable doing that. And luckily for me, also, my wife wasn't really very comfortable doing that. So it almost became like a no-brainer, um, that we had to take this decision, not just for ourselves, but for our kids, for the future. And I mean, we were very well aware of the fact that it was going to be literally starting from scratch, and giving up a very well-paying job, having worked so hard, literally gotten very close, not at the top, but very close.
Very close. Yeah,
Very
like right there, right there.
close to to the top, and built a lot of things around you back in the country and stuff like that. So it was literally going to be like leaving all those things behind and going to a new place, totally new place, and then starting all over afresh. But on the flip side, you could also look at it as a challenge. Like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to try to rewrite everything and try to make everything better. That's
Okay,
also another way
okay.
of looking at it,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah,
we started looking at it more like this could be a very interesting adventure. Imagine getting to a place where you know nobody, where you nobody, literally speaking, yeah, and then trying to build something not just for yourself but for your kids. So we started looking at it that way, and you know, um, decided to have that kind of positive outlook to things. So, I mean, the short answer to your question really is that what really made us make the jump was just thinking about the kind of future we wanted to give our children, we wanted our kids to have.
okay. So it was how how's my daughter gonna go to school? How's my daughter gonna live? What kind of life is my daughter? That was a trigger for you,
That was
right?
the trigger. So it just exactly the same way like our parents wanted the best for us.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
just us like trying to get want the best for our kids. Nigeria is always going to remain their home country. They can
yeah,
decide that they want to come back. Okay, let
yeah,
it be their decision, but at least let us know that we did everything for them. We'll set them up as best as we could,
yeah.
you know, and then give them everything that they needed to have a very fulfilling life. Again, it's not like you cannot get this kind of things back in Nigeria. Some people might say that they have everything they need in Nigeria, but we just thought differently about it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if we can reminisce a bit, let's go back down memory lane. What was that life that you were giving up? What did it look like? What was building it? What was basically the story behind that? Who's Chivuzo? What did he do before he almost got there and then decided that I'm leaving it all behind?
So no, I guess it's been just same old regular guy trying to, do the best that he can do. So first of all, I have a background in engineering, and I think that's where everything started.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My first degree was in engineering, as a matter of fact, in electronic engineering, and I also spent a lot of time um, learning computer science basics and programming and all that kind of thing. In fact, as a matter of fact, my first job out of university was as a software developer.
Oh, okay.
Know that, yeah. And
That's
to be honest,
interesting.
that has carried through up until today, because today I still, just for the fun of it, develop mobile phone applications, build websites and stuff like that, so just for the fun of it, but I don't do that professionally anyway. So I would say just that life back then as a fresh-eyed engineering student and stuff like that. So that actually got me into the spirit of building stuff. All right. And, I built a lot of things. I was in different associations, engineering associations. So in my school then, there was this association called BCAD. There's IEEE, there's IEEE. I was in all those associations, as a matter of fact. And I think I was even the president for my own student branch in my own university. And so it was really very interesting. And I think that love was also because my parents actually got me into programming way before I got into university. So what actually happened was that in engineering then, first year you do general courses with everybody, but then second year you now start doing engineering courses. And one of those courses that you had to do was basic programming. So something very interesting happened. So the first day we had that class in the lab, the professor came in and, we're going to learn basic programming today and stuff like that. It's going to be very interesting. Everybody was literally very excited. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know whether this thing is going to be worth my while. Because when I was in secondary school, right, my parents had gotten me into this programming boot camp. So before I even entered university, I was already very proficient in computer programming with the basic language. So I managed to sit through the class. Then, and here's another thing, when you are younger, you tend to be a little bit proud and hot-headed. You are not very good at managing
cocky,
so I was literally that very
and
stupid guy that thinks he knows it all. So so that kind of thing. So I just sat through the class. Yeah, basic program. Yeah. Then at the end of the class, and I went into the professor's office and said, look, that there's something really very important I wanted to discuss with him. And he was like, oh, sure, what's up? So I said, I don't think I need to take this class. And the guy looked at me like, what?
Really?
I was like,
are you serious right now?
I don't think I need to take this class. And he asked me, okay, why? So I said, because I already know how to program in BASIC. And I could see like how furious the man was. So he was like, okay, so what do we do? And I said, can you let me not take the class? Then he was like, so what am I going to do about your grades? Then I said, can you just give me an A so I can walk away? And I don't have to attend the class and stuff like that. So I think he got very furious. So he said, okay, you know what? Right here, right now, I'm going to set you an exam and you're going to take it. If you pass it, lucky you. But if you fail it, I'm not going to give you the opportunity to retake it with the rest of your classmates. I have to come back next year. So I was like, okay, no problem. Let's do it. So he sat me down in front of a computer that was in his office, and now asked me, the exam was just one question. write a computer program that will solve a quadratic equation, any quadratic equation. So I sat down and he told me that I had 1 hour to do it. So I sat down and then 10 minutes later, I was like, I'm done. So, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so run it. He now said, okay, let's impute this equation and stuff like that. He imputed the equation and the computer ran it and the answer came out. So I even went a step further because when solving quadratic equations, you can impute real numbers and imaginary
Yeah,
numbers.
and
So
get
I
and get
even
get the
program
solution.
the stuff to solve for imaginary numbers like the eye.
Mhm.
Remember the eye,
Mhm.
imaginary numbers, stuff like that. So he was putting in all kinds of coefficients for the different coefficients and thing was solving them. He was trying to break the program, putting in
Yeah.
zeros, putting in minus integers and stuff like that. So eventually he felt very surprised. So he now said, okay, no problem. I'm going to give you an A, but I'm not going to let you off. You're going to help me teach this course.
Teach. There we go, sharp guy.
So that was how I ended up teaching my classmates that course. And I taught it for 3 more years. So when I got to third year, I was teaching it. Fourth year, I was teaching it. It was only my final year that I didn't teach that course because, of course, I had to focus on my project and stuff like that. But the thing about it was that it gave me this opportunity to like learn how to build things because I spent a lot of time in that lab, in that computer lab. And after teaching people basic programming, I had to sort of like do stuff to just keep me excited and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I started building different kinds of things, computer programs to generate different kind of graphics to solve different kind of problems. So I got into that building thing, and he was really very happy. So during my fourth year when I had to do my internship, my IT, so he also set me up with a company that was just starting in Lagos. So I went, did my IT in the company, finished, came back, and the company gave me a job. So I was a student when I started working. So I was actually working for the company while I was still a student, that kind of thing. So fast forward, I graduated. I had a job already, so I kind of like started working, but didn't spend a long time in that company. So I left that company, moved to another company, but generally was working as a software engineer and stuff like that. Then one day I started thinking that, what's next? Like, what can I be as a software engineer? How can
Software
I really
engineer.
climb this professional
Yeah.
ladder? I want to be able to be in a managerial position. I want to be able to do stuff like climb professionally, and I just couldn't see myself climbing literally as a software engineer, or so I thought. So eventually what then ended up happening was that I cut the long story short, I wanted to get into business. And I started applying. So to get into business, I saw two paths for me. So part one was to go do an MBA. Part two was to go work for a consulting company. I ended up going to work for KPMG and then was in KPMG for a while. Then from KPMG, moved to an asset management company, rose to the level of associate VP before, I had to take the decision to leave everything behind.
Make
Um,
a jump.
yeah, but all those years, it was acquiring skills, growing my network, making friends, picking up little things, and then actually becoming a whole lot better. I started a number of small businesses in between that are, some of them are still thriving till today, even though they are 100% based in Nigeria, but they are still thriving. Of course, there are a lot of things that I missed out in those years, but overall, this is kind of like how things went, and each of those things actually shaped me. I must say though that it was in KPMG that I will always remember KPMG, and I always remember all my colleagues in KPMG because it was at that point that I felt like a professional. that I literally could feel myself turning into a professional in KPMG.
So
that's
where the pieces of all the ingredients that I had picked up over the years came together, and you felt confident enough to say that I am this person and I like this person I'm becoming.
Yeah, because at some point I had to start dealing with clients. I had to start paying attention to the bigger picture. I had to start managing everything and everyone around me, managing upwards, managing downwards,
managing across.
Of course, I was getting older, so I was shedding some of those strong head mentality, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I was realizing the value of relationships and all that.
Yeah. So let's move on from this. Canada. What are first thoughts? Canada and its people. Upon arrival, what were your day one thoughts? Maple syrup, maple leaf, RCMP, hockey, all that stuff.
First thing that came to my mind was that everybody around me was nice. It was so funny. You understand? Because so here was how it happened. Landed in Calgary, literally didn't know any person. Like I didn't know any person, not even one person. So my wife knew somebody that she had worked with before, but like long time ago. It wasn't as if they were very good. It was just like a colleague in a bank, and they didn't really work together.
Yeah.
So we had to do everything literally on our own. So before we came in, I was already searching out a hotel and stuff like that, and it would have been a massively terrible idea, start spending the first few weeks in a hotel. But the only reason why I was saved from that hardship was because all the hotels we could afford, obviously, that we checked were completely booked during that period, because that was the tail end of Stampede as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all the hotels were literally booked. So we were literally forced to go look at, Airbnbs and stuff like that. Again, these are things that you probably wouldn't know till, it has happened.
So you hit the ground.
Yeah. So anyway, we got an Airbnb before we landed. So landing, we got the Calgary International Airport, and that was where the journey really started. Had to ask around, where do we go get a cab? How do we go to this address? Blah, blah, literally. So from that moment on, every interaction with people was very pleasant. In fact, I was just thinking to myself, like, these guys are literally nice. So just compare that with Nigeria. Like, you are driving, maybe you're asking somebody, okay, how do I get? Oh, my friend, come on, get out from there. So it was literally very, 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 very different. So that was like my first impression of the people. I know the usual thing. So the first few days after landing, like, you have to go get your phone, go to Service Canada, do a few things, go your scene. So you are literally like meeting people almost
consistently every day.
Because you have to do stuff, you understand? Yep. So all those guys were absolutely like so nice, they were so nice. But I've been around for quite a while now in Canada, and I know that not all nice is nice. Not all nice is nice. But
one thing you can say is that Calgarians are nice people.
Lovely, to be honest with you.
Okay, yeah. I'll take that. I'll take that. So now this is 700, 1,500 days down the line. What are your thoughts? How's the journey been? Finance guy now wearing multiple hats. How's the journey been?
I think it's been okay, literally. Like, there's been a lot of learnings for me. And I think one of the things that have helped me is because I try as much as possible to have a very positive outlook to everything, So I've been lucky to meet people who are also like-minded, and people who, like, are very great people like yourself, obviously. So
thank you.
So far, it's really been very, very good. And we came with that whole idea that this is like a new chapter. So it's going to be, to a very large extent, whatever we make it to be. You understand? So like, this is
so it's going to be whatever you Make it
make
to
it
be.
to be to allow
Okay.
it to be. Yes, sir. So
Okay.
we're like, from day one, we've always thought to ourselves, this is like an opportunity for us to like do it, create
Yeah.
that kind of life that we wanted,
Yeah.
and move it from there. So we started working towards it. We've already started working towards it. We developed a very simple system of dividing our entire life into three buckets. So there's going to be like the short term, the medium term, and the long term buckets.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's now a question of building things and then trying to find the right bucket to put them into.
Mm.
So I think it's been great as well. So made a lot of people built our networks, and we are literally like, our ambition is out of this world. So trying to make this happen.
Recognize that
I'm
ambition as a group.
sorry?
I say we've recognized that ambition as a group.
No, it's literally out of this world. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I even like, you know, sometimes I'm even like wonder whether I'm even crazy. Like, how can your dreams be that big? But they are literally big. They're
That's cool.
very
That's
big.
cool.
So,
That's cool.
but we recognize that it's going to take quite a while for us to get there. But at least the most important thing is that we're working towards it. Yeah.
Cool. So, haven't spent all this time here now. Is there anything you wish you knew before making the jump that you know now?
Yeah.
Two,
So
3, 4 things. Tell me, hit me.
So I think the first one is that, and looking back now, it's literally going to sound like a no-brainer, but then I didn't do it. So I think the first thing is always to try to connect with people who are already here before making the move, because there are certain things that you literally don't have to go through, because other people have gone through those kind of things before and can advise you accordingly. So you don't have to jump through those hoops, and from very little things to very big things, because from the point that you land, almost on a daily basis, you're making decisions.
Yes, that's
And
true.
it's always very helpful to be well informed, or as informed as you possibly can, before making some of those decisions. So, as you can imagine, because we really didn't know anybody, and probably maybe in the excitement and whatever of the whole thing, actually forgot to get in touch with people who might be living here. So there were very few decisions that we made that were like literally the wrong decisions. That kind of
So,
thing.
can you tell me one small decision and one big decision that you're like, whichever way you panned, that if you knew what you know now, you'd have acted differently?
So, as an example, even from very little things like what phone line to what phone line to use. Yeah,
Don't buy Rogers.
okay. you know, initially I think we got on a plan that we were paying, what was it, $85 a month for one person. So for myself and my wife, we were literally paying $170 a month. And that's, looking back now, that's totally crazy. You understand? Yeah, because how I went on the internet and, okay, phone line, blah, blah, blah. Okay, stop. Oh, this one. Okay, no problem. And I went and got stuff like that. So all those kind of expenses and all those kind of things are things that you'd totally have avoided making.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
On the slightly bigger side, which is a little bit financial in nature. So coming here, one of the first things that we did, even before we landed, was so from Nigeria, I opened an account here, and then of course did like a wire transfer.
Mhm.
So I mean, wire transfer comes with charges and blah blah blah,
Yep.
and all those kind of
Yep.
exchange
Yep.
rate conversions and blah blah blah, and which ended up so by the time you calculate all those exchange rate losses, the fees, and everything like that, it ended up being not the best decision to have done that kind of thing. Already, there are people here who are always looking for naira. So it was just a question of like, okay, I have naira, yeah, I need dollars, and then you make a simple swap, that kind of thing. So, like I said, like looking back now, a lot of people will literally say to me, dude, you were really very stupid, that kind of thing. But yeah, those are the things that if I had known, like I would have, done it that way. And I guess maybe part of it also was because even right up to the very last day that I left, it
Mm,
was like work, busy, busy, busy,
yeah,
busy
yeah.
throughout, you know. And the last place that I worked in Nigeria, right? Like I was still working 6 months into when I even finally came to Canada. Like I was
Wow.
literally still working for the company. So it was like work till at a point it wasn't sustainable again. And I had to finally like say, okay, guys, I know you guys don't want me to leave, but this is not good.
I have to build a new life, and this is
It's
not
not
working.
good. Because the hours were literally crazy. Some of those
Yeah.
times when you have like 8 hours difference, like it was just not working. And there are very limited things that you can do online, right? So for you to really be effective at the job, there are certain things that you just need to have face-to-face interactions with people, because at the end of the day you're managing people's assets, right? And relationship is key to that kind of thing, and nothing
Yes.
beats face-to-face interactions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably one of the things that I would say, hey, okay, if I were to move again, yeah, man, I would be a lot wiser right now. So I'll be a lot
Interesting.
wiser, you know. Uh,
Now, before we start talking about advice to people who are considering making the jump, on the career side of things, how did that work out? Because I know you don't do finance for a 9 to 5 job anymore. So how did you manage that transition into what you now do? And how would you advise somebody who is trying to, find their feet? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I think it's going to be different things for different people. So there are different ways of looking at it. So yes, I no longer do finance here, but so today 9 to 5, I work as a senior business analyst in one of the leading telecommunication companies here in Canada. And that's fit very well into my previous life as a management consultant in KPMG.
Yep.
So there
Yep.
are a lot of overlap. So already you could say that I had like the skill set, the personality, and everything to sort of like fit nicely into that kind of role. And so I was doing that. It was a pretty smooth transition for me, to be honest. But I know that circumstances can be very different for a lot of people, and sometimes you can find people who maybe what they did prior to coming here couldn't translate directly into maybe any job opportunities at the moment. So they have to find themselves doing some kind of transition job or survival jobs or stuff like that. It can happen. So I think for me, what I would say, having been here for quite a while and seeing, speaking from my own experience and the experiences of other people, I think people need to be a little bit more flexible, because there are many things to balance when you land. So there are almost immediately bills that accumulate, and
Bills, bills,
you need
bills.
to sort that out.
Yeah.
I, so you need to balance today with tomorrow, that kind of thing. So it's just to be a little bit patient. It doesn't mean that you are moving backwards. It doesn't mean that you're a failure or anything like that. It just means that you are doing what you have to do at that point in time, just to lay the right foundations. But having said that, though, I tell people as well that even if you are doing transition jobs today, let it be just that, transition jobs. And I'm saying that because I've seen people who 3 years into it, they are still on those transition jobs, and there could be many, many reasons for that. But it's always good to, don't forget where you're coming from, and also don't forget that, look, you have a place that you're headed, and you really, really want to get there as fast as possible. So it's true that today I have to do these things just to take care of my current situation, but I'm not going to lose sight of where I'm headed and where I want to be tomorrow. So just finding that kind of balance. Sometimes for some professions, It's easier again, just by speaking to people. I always recommend speaking with people. It's easier to start planning to transition into those jobs, even while you're still back home in Nigeria, wherever you're coming from, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So have those conversations understand the certifications that you need to take, the things that you need to do to prepare. Maybe start having conversations with potential employers here even before you land. And there are people who have done it successfully, so it's very possible. So I highly, highly, highly recommend that, just to think a little bit about that before coming. It tends to be easier when you start making the effort to transition into a new role here. For some other people, their current place of work when you're back in Nigeria, if it's an international company, there might be like opportunities to transfer
kind of arrangement,
that kind of thing. So it's also to check if those opportunities exist, and then try to see how you can take advantage of those opportunities. It might be speaking with one partner who has a relationship with another partner in Canada and stuff like that. It could be so many things as well. But having said that, though, to be honest, I think, and this is, a lot of people will not agree with me, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think it's good to be open-minded, right? Because you might have a plan, but then once you hit the ground, things might change. So you have to be open-minded enough, flexible enough to adjust and to change, with the understanding that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, So in the near future, there might be like small ups and downs like that. You have to be open-minded and flexible enough to navigate all those short-term challenges, while keeping your mind
get to your long-term goal.
Long-term goal.
There are a few things I've picked up in this conversation now. Number one, you talked about, so right from the big get-go, your personality, you're a builder, you like to build stuff.
Absolutely.
That has definitely been an asset for you in this immigration process. Now, you've mentioned talking to people who are currently on ground being a very critical component. So you've mentioned being open-minded, right? Even though you have a plan, but be open-minded in case you need to pivot on your plan.
That's
now,
right.
I'm going to ask you to give me a 1-minute shot for anybody who, he doesn't want to spend, he's not ready to spend 30 minutes with you, but he has 60 seconds. What's your hot take for anybody who wants to make the jump?
So the hot take is, first of all, just be as ambitious as you can be. And if you think that you are really all that ambitious, even be more ambitious. That's number one. Second thing is that you have to, again, be very open-minded and very flexible, because things can, and most times things are going to change on you. You have to be that flexible. Sometimes if it means getting very scrappy just to take care of current day situations, you just got to be that scrappy and take care of current day situations. Do the things that you probably never thought you were ever going to do. Skip the dishes driver or whatever it is. You have to do
Season
it.
any time.
Yeah, you got to do it. You have to do it. There's no shame in doing it. It's honest work, right?
Yeah.
It's honest work. You have to do it. You have to, be that open-minded, be that flexible to be able to do things just to survive, whilst at the same time not letting go of your dreams, because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And then the third thing that I'm going to say is that, for Christ's sake, do not compare yourself with other people. Don't compare yourself with other people. That is the fastest and easiest way to give yourself a heart attack.
But we are Nigerians, it's difficult to do that, right?
It's very difficult, but you have to try as much as possible not to compare yourself with other people. People's paths are different. You understand? Sometimes you see, I have to buy a house within the first 2 months. I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating, but
but I get you, and that makes sense. That makes sense because our paths are different.
Follow your own path. That is not to say that you shouldn't take the good things from people and stuff like that. Like there might be people who are doing certain things in a certain way that you see are very useful, but that's good. By all means, learn. But the kind of comparison that I'm talking about, don't do that. Don't do that. It's not helpful in any way. It's not helpful in any way. So
Okay.
as far as hot takes go, you know, that's really how I'm going to put it.
So thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your evening.